Okay. Now, in dialogical relational psychotherapy, there's not just one knower, the client, or from some people's point of view, there's not just one knower, the psychoanalyst or the psychotherapist. There are two knowers, and we're both in the business, we both have a task of knowing and trying to understand what's going on, as well as caring and supporting. So both of those things are going on, knowing and caring, or even loving, if you like to call it that. Now, in that work, as well as accompanying and supporting and making sure that the client knows that I'm hearing what they're saying in their own terms, there's also sometimes the need for challenge and the need for interpretation. And it's that I want to talk about just now. When these are necessary, challenge and interpretation, it's my view that it's not helpful if they come out of the blue from the psychotherapist and take the client by surprise. On the contrary, I think that challenge and interpretation at best emerge from solid, extended, continuing passages of collaborative work involving both. They emerge from that work. They're aimed not at undermining the client's self, but actually at freeing and extending and building the capacities of the client's self. I want to say now some words about the kinds of methods I use. And first of all, I try to have a general attitude of interest, of kindness and honesty. Very early on, at the start of a new psychotherapy relationship, I invite the client to make a family and relationship map with me, sitting close together, so that the client will make the map, putting themselves at the centre of a sheet of paper, and they will gradually tell me everything that comes to their mind about their family of origin and their present relationships. And they'll speak to me, and I will ask questions about the people they have named and put on the map. I encourage them also, early on, as early as they like, to tell personal stories. And I want to validate and believe that story. I also encourage clients to, I ask them if they dream, I encourage them, if they do dream, to try and write down in words the text of their dream as soon after it has occurred as possible, and I invite them to bring that along. If they don't do that, but if they can recall the dream to mind, I invite them to speak to me about it, to tell the story of the dream, and I ask their permission to write it down. I then break it into parts, and I invite them to say the free associations they have to each part of the dream. And then I give my own free associations to the dream, and then together we begin to work at trying to get a sense of what the dream might be about. And once again, the first person whose view I ask is the client herself or himself. What do you think the dream might have been about now? Again, honesty in response is vital. I will in fact self-disclose in the work I do, but only where I think it's helpful to the client's work. So you have to make ongoing conscious judgments. Would it be helpful to tell a story from my own life, or would it not? Would it be an intrusion? Would it be a diversion? I'm not in favour of a general policy of self-withholding, nor am I in favour of a general policy of blotting out everything that's happened in my life. Another important feature of this way of working is, I think it's important to admit when you're uncertain, or admit if you feel you've got something wrong, if you feel you've made a mistake, either when it occurs or if you don't realise it till later, the next time you meet. Now what we're doing in all of this, I think, is gradually working closely together, interacting. We're identifying the core relational themes of the client. These are the themes of the client's self-system, or as I've come to name it more recently, it's not simply a self-system. Every one of us has what I call a self, other, culture, world system. So it's the themes of that self-system that we're gradually identifying and gradually exploring and working on. What we're trying to do is make sense, help the client to make sense of her being and relating in the world as she or he does it. You might say that in doing that, what we're trying to do is to cultivate the client's ability to ponder, to be open, to reflect on experience, to receive feedback, and to be able to take in help from outside her or his self.